Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Zoo Exhibit Tours. Today I'm going to be touring the Rainforest House at Tierpark Berlin. Also known as the Alfred-Brehm-Haus, this is arguably Tierpark Berlin's greatest exhibit. Full of lush foliage and a huge amount of species, including many rare ones that you don't see in many other zoos. The Rainforest House recently went through a huge renovation, where its previously low-quality enclosures were refurbished and redeveloped, and turned into much more modern and high-quality enclosures. Here is the plan of the Rainforest House. The Rainforest House's main building is full of many indoor enclosures. Attached to the outside of the building are many outdoor enclosures. All of the indoor and outdoor enclosures that make up the Rainforest House will be toured in this video. So, let's begin the tour of this tropical world. Just before entering the Rainforest House itself, we will head to the left and arrive at the first enclosure. Previously home to binturongs, this lush enclosure now houses an Asian golden cat. This beautiful cat, named Raka, seems to be very interested in the camera. The Asian golden cat enclosure can be viewed from this glass window, but it can also be viewed from the left through a hollow log. Now it is time to enter the Rainforest House's main building. Once you enter, you find yourself in an open plaza-like area with enclosures surrounding you. Straight ahead of you in the middle of the building is a large walk-through section of the building, but we will get to this later. The first enclosure in between the two entrance doors of the building is one for the king cobra. In this tour, I will start from the left side of the building and work my way around the whole building. So, just past the king cobra is another similar sized enclosure. This one is home to northern tree shrews and Burmese star tortoises. After their enclosure is a larger enclosure housing a rare zoo animal, the bear cuscus. This enclosure is home to 3 of them. In Europe, this species can only be found in 3 zoos, including Tierpark Berlin. After the bear cuscus enclosure, one of the 2 long reptile and amphibian halls begins. Down the building's left side hall, there are species such as Mangshan pit vipers, black tree monitors, Malayan horned frogs, and golden geckos. If you look closely at this reptile and amphibian hallway, you'll notice that hidden behind are more enclosures, these ones being much larger. These indoor spaces were part of the old Rainforest House, and they still stand today. However, they have been refurbished to fit modern day standards. I am not sure what is in the first few enclosures, but I know that the few enclosures on the end of the row are for the rare Javan leopard. We will see more of the Javan leopard later on in the video, as this is just the leopard's indoor area. Past the indoor leopard area, and at the end of the first hallway of the Rainforest House, you are met with a large, almost studio-like enclosure. The term studio is based on how perfect the enclosure and its viewing area look. You are able to get great views of the animals up close. This enclosure is a mixed species exhibit for sun bears and binturongs. 2 sun bears call this enclosure home, and they live alongside multiple binturongs. This is just the indoor area for these animals. They also have a large outdoor area. This can be reached by momentarily exiting the Rainforest House through a door just to the left of the indoor bear and binturong enclosure. Just before reaching the outdoor bear and binturong enclosure, you arrive at the outdoor Javan leopard enclosure. Javan leopards are an incredibly rare subspecies of leopard, and they are very hard to find in zoos. There are none in the UK, and in Europe they can only be found in 4 collections. Tierpark Berlin is currently home to 1 female Javan leopard, named Shrikandi. On my previous visit in 2022, Shrikandi was living with a male, which is why 2 leopards can be seen in some of these clips. Tree Candy is the highlight of the Rainforest House for me, as she is such a rare and gorgeous cat. Now, just across from the outdoor Javan leopard enclosure is the outdoor enclosure for the sun bears and binturongs. This enclosure is one of the Rainforest House's largest, and it can be viewed from multiple angles through glass windows. Now, following the path back past the bear and leopard outdoor areas, we are now back at the indoor sun bear and binturong enclosure. Now we head to the right of this enclosure and back outside. The enclosure that is immediately in view to the left has recently become empty. It used to house a pair of Malayan tigers named Tarek and Sarai. They have since moved to another zoo and their enclosure is currently empty. Opposite their enclosure, and the enclosure we're about to see, there's a nice view of a statue of two lions with the Rainforest House as a backdrop. Just past the old Malayan tiger enclosure is another one of similar size and design. This enclosure, which is slightly on the small side, is home to the zoo's family of 4 Sumatran tigers, a pair and their 2 cubs. JJ and his partner Mayang produced 2 cubs. Both cubs are female and are named Louise and Lottie. This is the outdoor area for these tigers. Their indoor space can be reached by heading to the right and back inside the Rainforest House. This indoor tiger enclosure is similar in design to the bear and binturong indoor space, and it is arguably even more stunning. The indoor tiger and bear enclosures allow you to get breathtaking up-close views. For example, this is me getting super up close with one of the tiger cubs. Now it's time to head into the large walkthrough area of the Rainforest House. Opposite the indoor tiger enclosure is one of the many entrances to this walkthrough. After walking up some steps, the path takes you out into the jungle. You are surrounded by the sights, smells and sounds of a tropical rainforest. This is one of the prettiest views in the zoo thanks to the lush foliage and the striking glass roof of the building. There are many free-roaming animals in this enclosure, including Indian flying foxes, multiple species of crowned pigeons, and many other bird species. Also, whilst walking along the bridge, if you look down, you can get above views into multiple enclosures for the zoo's Sunda gharials. At the end of the bridge walkthrough, you can head down another set of stairs and through a door that takes you into the same walkthrough room, but this time you are on the forest floor. The first enclosure that you come to, depending on what side you enter from, is one for the barred eagle owl. Then, after following the path, you reach the Sunda gharial enclosures that we just saw from above. The enclosure on the left side houses juvenile Sunda gharials, and the one on the right houses an adult Sunda gharial. This adult gharial also lives with multiple species of turtle. If you follow the path, you can get a wider view of the Sunda gharial enclosures through glass windows. After the gharials, the path takes you deeper into the jungle to the area where the majority of the free-roaming birds spend their time. This area is incredibly immersive. After this, the path takes you out of the walkthrough and back to either the indoor bear enclosure or indoor tiger enclosure, depending on which side you exit from. Now it is time to head down the second reptile and amphibian hall, which is opposite the indoor tiger enclosure. This hall doesn't just include reptiles and amphibians. Like the first hall, this second hall also has indoor enclosures for multiple mammalian species. The first few enclosures in this hallway are in clear view. They are for the Goodfellows tree kangaroo and dusky paddy melons. and we will see their very unique outdoor area later on in the video. Following the hallway down, you encounter many reptile and amphibian species, including tokay geckos, triangle frogs, and blue speckled tree monitors. Hidden behind these reptile and amphibian enclosures are multiple indoor spaces. Some of these, I believe, are home to clouded leopards. At the end of the hallway is the main indoor area for the zoo's clouded leopards. This indoor space has been beautifully designed and offers great views of the leopards. We will see the outdoor clouded leopard enclosure later on in the video. We have now made it back to the entrance of the Rainforest House building and completed our journey inside the building. However, there is still more to see on the outside. Outside, to the right of the Rainforest House's entrance, is a path that eventually takes you to the outdoor clouded leopard enclosure. This is similar in design to the Javan leopard enclosure that we saw earlier. After the clouded leopards, the path continues and eventually leads to the final enclosure that makes up the Rainforest House. This is the outdoor Goodfellows tree kangaroo enclosure. You may remember that I said that this enclosure was very unique. Why? Well, this is one of the very few walk-through tree kangaroo enclosures. To enter, you can follow it around to the left and walk through a set of doors. And we are now in with the tree kangaroos. Sharing this space with the tree kangaroos are multiple dusky paddy melons. The path takes you around the whole exhibit, but also still provides hidden and private areas for the animals to hide away if they wish, which is great. Once you are done in the walkthrough, you follow the path out of the enclosure through another set of doors. And with that, we have now fully toured the huge Rainforest House at Tierpark Berlin. This is one of the greatest zoo exhibits I've seen, and it's brimming with loads of species, with many being very rare in zoos. So, I hope that you have enjoyed this episode of Zoo Exhibit Tours. Thank you for watching.